Yeah, I mean, I actually do agree on that one. You're not going for that bias type of scenario for the side of Sengoku because their draft is really really that good, right? You have the Malphite, you have the Braum, both to initiate for that for that misfortune, right? And on top of all that, you also have the Aurelion Soul, and we've seen it throughout the series wherein Aurelion Soul could really just go from lanes to lanes and go for that massive AOE stun against the enemy team. And also to add it all off, you also have the
Oh
Lee
no.
Sin to go for that single targeted kills in CC against the enemy team as well.
Oh my goodness, you saw so much damage going on the Lulu there. It's a
Hmm.
common play to see Lulu jump in the mid for a couple seconds to help with that mid matchup, and she obviously was there in order to just help out Henry here against Hawk.
Hmm.
But immediately Sengoku was in the bushes there waiting for her, completely just burst down Harry for a while. She's gets a below half health and has to go back to base, which gives a tiny bit of momentum here to Sengoku.
Hmm. Yeah. So it's gonna be very interesting fight. Now I'm actually very curious on how Bigetron is gonna act up for the first 5 minutes of the game because you have the Braum to defend the misfortune in the back lines against the Kaisa. So it's gonna be hard. So I think Kaisa needs to go for that level 5 early, and even the Lulu as well, to even try to initiate against the enemy team and try to get that kill because it's gonna be very hard into the early game.
Yeah, for sure. Misfortune is just such a beast in that lane. Obviously, Kaisa and Lulu can be pretty powerful themselves. It is kind of like a 1v2 situation, though, because Misfortune's doing the brunt of the damage, and
Hmm.
Brahm's just kind of there to prevent anything weird happening. Potentially some damage coming here. Obviously, Lulu does quite a bit more damage than the Braum, though Braum has a nice shield to help him out there. You can see on the minimap that 4 members are kind of congregating around the potential dragon area, even though the dragon's not coming up soon. So they're going to go ahead and take the Risk Killer. Very nicely done trading Risk Killers here, but the dragon is a little bit more important for the dragon fight coming up. Olaf going to be setting up for a potential gank here. In the meantime, he's just going to take these this jungle camp for free. And you can see Slash Moon and Dejiwo are a bit wary, right? They're like, I think Olaf's in the area. I don't want to get too far forward. But they could be right for a bit of a gank here. I think that Bigetron could have a chance if Olaf
Absolutely.
goes for it. I've kind of waited with bated breath, right? Are they going to go for it or not? They're getting extremely low. Here comes control from the back, potentially. The Minuet's coming in, but Lulu's extremely low as well. They're putting a ward there, but that means that Digimon might be in a little bit of trouble. Takes a while. Oh, damage! And there is the jump onto him. Here comes a Hawk to help him out, though. Hawk actually goes too far. I think he had his camera on the wrong way, but he uses the chance to kill onto Lulu. That's a double kill for a Hawk here. Looks like Henry's going to try to help out his teammate get out of dodge. Look, I'm not sure. I think Hawk had his camera on a different area while he was moving across the map. I think he could have saved his teammate there. He does get the double kill in the end, so it is a 2-for-2. But I think that could have gone better for both teams. Honestly, I think a little bit nerves potentially here.
Yeah, if Aurelion Sol wasn't too far from the stun, I think he could save one more of his teammates. And alongside with it, we have Bigetron going into deep as well. They're really just diving in against the enemy team. They don't want to just get one kill; they want to get two kills, which in turn made it so that Sengoku on the other side has returned the two kills in their favor as well. So it's basically a 2-2 in that bottom lane engagement instead of Bigetron having that advantage early on.
Right. I just think that the Lulu and the Kaisa, Dewa and Harry, they just didn't. They really didn't sync very well with the Olaf. I felt like the Olaf had to go in first, right? But instead, they kind of were chomping at the bit. They entered too soon. They took a lot of damage before Olaf was even able to get in there. So, wasn't able to make it happen. But in the meantime, we have Rush coming, gets polymorphed by the Lulu. And so the thing is, he's taking quite a bit of damage. Well played by Harry here and making sure to get that polymorph off and not only keep himself alive, but severely damage Rush.
And now the Ocean Break is up. So it's gonna be very devastating for a kill to come through. Especially Gragas is not near the dragon, so it's gonna be the advantage coming into the side of Sengoku to try and initiate this one. They have dominance into the dragon's pit. So what is gonna be the next move of Bigetron?
Yeah, they're trying to get in here. A big ult comes out from Gragas. They jump onto the dragon, and Olaf is able to take it, but how is the rest of this fight going to pan out? Looks like there's a big ult coming out from Slash Moon. She is on the hunt, trying to chase multiple members down, going onto this Kaisa here, but she takes lots of damage to herself. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we have Curse coming and trying to get the kill onto the Gragas, and the long-range shot brings him down. Just kind of fades away and calls Kobe there, gets him down in the end. That's a 2-4-0 for the side of Sengoku. However, they did lose out on the Drake because of control, coming in and controlling that area.
Yeah, but I think that was actually kind of worth it, right? That is the Ocean Drake, so that would give you Omnivamp for your team. So basically, it's more sustainability coming to the side of Bigetron. And look at that, like the Gragas was actually quite key here for the side of Bigetron and trying to take that dragon. And when Gragas went in, goes for the ultimate, and that was already, you know, the the knockback against Sengoku. So what could they do next is something that is unexpected, right? You can't really just go for the smite when you're already stocked up in CC lockdown against the enemy team. So that was basically just a smart move by Bigetron.
You can totally tell what Sengoku is trying to do here, right? Which is the kind of MO in these types of situations. Whenever there's an objective, they care more about the fight than the actual objective itself. And you see they let Rush kind of take it by himself. Looks like Henry is kind of just playing around here. But I think he picked up the package, just kind of playing around with it. But Sengoku, they had one champion on the objective, and everyone else trying to zone out. That made it difficult for the Gragas to get his ult off, but he actually did it pretty reasonably there. So Bigetron making some plays, despite the fact that Sengoku was playing very solid themselves. And looks like we have this next objective coming up potentially. You can see the top on your minimap. There's a little skirmish between Malphite and the Gragas, but we have a couple members, Rush and Dejuel, trying to get in on this Rift Herald. They can't really get in. 5 members of Bigetron are in the area. It's getting extremely low. Are they going to push on this? Hawk actually getting in. They get pushed back by the Gragas. It gets taken by the Lee Sin, and here comes the engage from Sengoku Gaming. Multiple members falling, and the Malphite actually goes down in the end, but Hawk is still fighting strong. They get one more member down. Olaf falls, and so too does one other member. I believe that was the Kaisa. And they're not looking, or they're not done quite yet. They're looking to try to get on the Gragas, but multiple members are in the area. Hawk maybe can finish this off with his buddy Rush. The Korean duo on the Japanese team maybe can try to get these kills, but looks like Lou's gonna be able to get away. So too are Corki and Gragas, and that is gonna be that for that team fight. I believe it was a 2-4-2 in the end, with the Rift Herald going over to Sengoku.
Yeah, I mean, that Malphite ult was actually quite key. Like, Bigetron was trying to go for that Rift Herald, and they're really pushing it hard. But that Malphite ult just knocked out 3 members of Bigetron up in the sky to do nothing else. And that gave the opportunity for the side of Sengoku to go for the Rift Herald, which they have stolen. So it's just a big move coming in from that Malphite. And I think Bigetron wasn't really expecting that to happen. I think they were expecting the Malphite to maybe try and support his teammates instead. So I think it was just a bait play. It was just a magical play coming in for the side of Sengoku on that fight.
It looks like we have the package coming in here for Corki, and when he goes back to base, that's going to help him out quite a bit. We have a potential another Drake coming up soon, though I don't know the actual timing with the package compare with that. If you guys don't know, Corki is his passive, excuse me, is a package that he gets when he goes back to base. You can see on the minimap that he's picking that up now and empowers his abilities, and you can see that it's lining up pretty well with the dragon coming up soon in about 15 seconds. So Henry's going to be super powered here for this fight going forward. Unfortunately, he nearly lets his mid tower gets taken out here.
400 HP remaining. Like, what is gonna happen next? But Bigetron, I think, is correctly doing what they do best. They're stating their dominance. They're trying to zone out the enemy team to try and go for the Drake, or try to go for the objectives on this matter. So it's a matter of what is gonna happen next for the side of Sengoku.
It does go over to Bigetron there, but here comes the fight coming in. Hawk was a little bit late on the Aurelion Soul. You can you saw on the minimap he was trying to come as quickly as possible, but unable to get there in time. That means the second dragon does go over to Bigetron, but Sengoku's not quite done yet. They're going to try to bring down this turret. Misfortune can probably just take that down without minions even there, but obviously she doesn't want to get caught out by the side of Bigetron. Bit of a skirmish here, potentially brewing over in the middle, with Malphite having to get away. I think that might have been the whole fuse by the Gragas, and indeed, yeah, you can see that the green dot is not there, so I believe he just used his ult, and that's just going to be a lot of chaos on all sides of the map here. Middle is a little skirmish as well. Looking at Hawk going against Control here. and he's gonna get scared off. Just people just kind of poking against each other. Infinity.
Yeah. And I think it's important, right? When you get the pokes out against the enemy team, you have that initial damage already against the enemy team. So you could dominate when it comes to those HP percentages in terms of those current matchups against the enemy team. So it's really, really important to get those pokes up and running for your team.
It's so funny. Everyone, all 10 members knew that Misfortune wanted to step up there and get one last shot in order to kill off that mid tower, that all-important mid tower. She does get successfully off, but it was slightly dicey as she took quite a bit of damage on the retreat. But Sengoku is, good and healthy. They've made their way back. They're now going back onto the map as we have the Baron spawning in just a moment here. I believe that one of the members still has the Rip Herald, if I'm not mistaken. I think it actually is Rush, but anyway, if it hasn't been released yet. All right, we've heard from Dave that he does have it. He's been keeping a close eye on the matter as we have a little bit of skirmish. Oh my goodness, it's extremely low. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kirsten in a lot of trouble. Tries to get out there, but does not get there in time. Big ult comes out from Digimon, but the turret is nearly dead. Slashman and Digimon running for their lives. Still have a lot of health, but obviously can't really stand in the face of 4 members, and that is the turret going down. Rich Herald gets spawned out in this bottom lane, and meanwhile, while all that was happening, the Corki did die to Rush in that bottom lane. Henry giving his life, unfortunately, and doesn't save the turret either. You can see that Hawk is actually pushing with a sliver of health still. He gives no cares in the world about his life total. He's just gonna push on forward and make sure that the Rip Terrell gets as much damage as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. He just wants to get those damage up and running for his team to get those objectives later on much easier for them. But also, we've talked about the objectives, we've talked about engagement, but look at the gold lead right now, right? You have the 5k gold lead coming to the side of Sengoku, which is actually huge when you're talking about gold. And on top of all that, the side of Bigetron answered with 2 dragons already. So it is a thing, or it is something that is important when it comes to later on. Sengoku should not let more dragons go to the side of Bigetron already, because that Ocean Break, that Cloud Dragon, is already giving them the permanent buff for their team.
Yeah, the movement speed coming out from the Cloud, the vamp coming out from the Ocean Dragon. So that's why they're able to sustain these fights. That's why they're able to get to the fights quickly in the first place. And that's something that, Sengoku has to deal with. Even though they have that 4k gold lead, it makes it very difficult when you're down a member potentially because of movement speed, when the opponent is lasting just a little bit longer than you anticipated because of that. But we potentially have an engage here. Olaf's extremely deep, and Slash Moon is all by himself, gets taken out by the Corki, and Braum falls as well. Sengoku in trouble. Rush trying to jump over this wall here to get out, and the Wild Growth already used on the Olaf. Malphite fighting by himself again. Here comes Hawk to try to save the day, but he can't really do a whole lot by himself. Henry is extremely low on that Corki. I don't know how long he can stay alive. Can the Koreans do it? Can Rush and Hawk on this Japanese team help out their brethren? And they're going to try to make it happen. Rush is on the right side trying to hide out there and make sure he doesn't get caught out. But another dragon goes over to Bigetron Infinity, and this is the all-important Infernal Dragon getting them more damage.
Probably the worst moment that you could die, because that was the Infernal Drake, and that Infernal Drake gives you damage. So right now, you have the movement speed, you have the Omnivamp, and you have the damage percentage bonus going to the side of Bigetron. And that is not just, movement speed that, it's fine, it's not that good. Because you're talking about an Olaf, you're talking about a Kaisa, and even a Corki to the side of Bigetron. And that is something that is very valuable for these 3 heroes. It could be an initiator of improvement coming in from that Olaf, and mobility kiting potential coming in from Corki and that Kaisa.
Oh my god, Slashman gets hunted down by the Olaf here. Rush is in trouble as well. The GA is popped. Here comes Hawk to potentially try to save the day. The Malphite gets popped here. The tower's extremely low, but once he gets one kill before it goes down. Here comes the Kaisa trying to get in there. The Gragas was trying to provide some CC as well to help out his teammates, but he does fall. Kaisa, her GA is popped. Another member died before she went down, and only Jidduo is left alive. He falls in the end, and that is an ace here for Bigetron. They are pushing it. They're putting it on to Sengoku here. I don't think they can end the game right now, but they're certainly doing a whole lot for their cause.
And they're just diving right in. They have their sights onto the inhibitor turret from the mid lane. But let's look at the replay brought to you by Trovo. And I think this was a very smart move. That Gragas ult was very strong. That split up the Aurelion Soul, forced out the flash, and that is forcing out the Stasis Enchant as well. So there is no more defensive capabilities by the Aurelion Soul that he could cast. And that would be the secure kill coming in from that Bigetron. So I think that was very important. That Gragas ultimate was very, very ideal for their team.
Bigetron making this happen. The dominant Sengoku in groups is being pushed to their limits here in game number 1. Bigetron actually up 3.5k gold. They are up 3 dragons. Can they finish off the Goliath of this tournament? Sengoku, honestly, they haven't been pushed in a game this hard the entire tournament. The only time they've ever been pushed like this was when they lost the game, when they were being experimental with three ADCs in their team. So with a normal comp, they've never been pushed like this before. Bigetron trying to pull off the upset, at least in this first game. That said, it's not quite over for either team. This is definitely winnable for both sides, but Bigetron has to like where they are.
100%. It is still going to be the winnable play coming in for the side of Sengoku if the ideal situations may happen for their team. But D2, we're looking at the Baron buff. A potential gank may occur coming in for the side of Bigetron to get these objectives. We've seen it from the dragons from time to time, and those 3 dragons were secured by Bigetron. So I think they're gonna do the same to try and go for that Baron buff.
Yeah, it looks like another turret actually does go down in that bottom lane as Curse is having a difficult time dealing with Valve on that Gragas, and this is going to be yet another turret falling. Bigetron taking advantage of their lead and pushing in farther in the turrets, gaining that map control. And the map control is really what's helped them this entire time, along with that movement speed here, because consistently they've caught multiple members out like this. Potentially Rush getting caught out as well, but yeah, it's usually been Slashmoon and Dejiwo being caught out by the opposing team. That Valve here just being a nuisance the entire time, but here comes the engage. 5 versus 4. Polymorph goes on to Curse, but oh my god, big AoE on the multiple members of the team, and that is also going in with the wild goal, stays alive, but there is the flash coming out of Hawk to make sure he goes down. That's a double kill here for Slashman. Can he get the triple kill? Going in, gets the slow. Harry's trying to run away. Hawk wants to finish off that kill. Rush is actually dying here to the minions, and I believe that Gragas actually went down in the midst of that. He was like pushing bottom lane. Are they going to actually go for this? Actually, the death numbers are extremely long, and they can't get Harry quite yet. That's actually a big deal that Harry stayed alive in the end. I believe that Slashman would have been able to maybe finish off that kill, but let's see what's going to happen here. Can they get in here? Can they actually push on to this side of the situation? Harry trying to hold on for dear life. I don't believe this is an end game situation. Package, you can see they're going to go for it. They have the GA. They're going to go on to the Nexus. The Wild Gold is popped. They're going to pop Lulu herself. They're going on to the Nexus. There is the Stasis pop. Oh, the dead timer is just coming out right now, and that is game 1 going over to Sengoku.
That was an absolute perfect situation. And that was something that we keep on talking about. That was something that we talked about, D2. The ideal situation coming to the side of Sengoku Gaming would lead them to a comeback play. And that Braum, that Malphite, and that Misfortune was the key players in those last engagements. And if you've seen it, that Malphite ult shot down 3 with the bullet time coming in from Misfortune just brought down the hyper carries coming to the side of Bigetron Infinity. So